I'm going to show you 3 idiot-proof ways to fix audio and a couple techniques. The third technique you might think is cheating, but I actually think it might be the most important of the 3, even though it's not just like a cool plugin you drop on. So the first one's completely free. The second one you do have to pay for, but it's kind of worth it. And then the third one, we'll just leave that till the end. All right. So this gentleman has a lavalier mic on, and we were outside in this busy town square. The nice thing about lav mics is that they really isolate the voice because they're so close to the subject, it's proximity, so they do sound great, and his interview for the most part sounds really good.
Esas comunidades porque antes entrabas entre lodo y piedras, ahora entras entre asfalto.
So it's nice audio, it sounds good. This is untouched before anything. The problem is about at here, you'll hear it. See if you can pick up what's wrong.
Entonces, sí da gusto realmente ver que las remesas están haciendo mucho.
We literally have a siren in the background. That's just a fact of life. That's just what happened. So this first technique, it's going to blow your mind. It's real weird. I'm in Davinci Resolve right now, which there's a free version you can download. Here's what we're going to do to fix this siren.
Sí da gusto realmente ver que las remesas.
We're going to click on the clip, go up to our settings up here, and we're going to go down to voice isolation, and we're going to turn it on. Leave it cranked to 100 for this example, and
Sí da gusto realmente ver que las remesas están haciendo mucho.
the sound is completely gone. That's nuts. That is crazy. I don't know if you understand how crazy that is, but
Sí da gusto realmente ver que
that is crazy. And we can play with backing it off. The rule of thumb with this is the least amount that you can get away with is what you should use. So let's try 47%.
Sí da gusto realmente ver que las remesas.
It's still really faint back there, so we'll crank it up to 72.
Sí da gusto realmente ver que las remesas están haciendo mucho.
That sounds clean to me. So that's the first thing to do. Sometimes with just subtle background noise, you can just do like 10% and it'll be totally fine and clean. Now what I would do in the final, we'll do this, is I will grab some background ambience to layer in there, so it's not just only his voice, and put the background really low. But that's the first one. Voice isolation in Davinci Resolve. It's wild. It's crazy. The second one is this clip from this gentleman here. We'll solo it so we don't hear any music or anything. Let's listen to it.
El Salvador, que me cuentan que allá lo difícil.
So as you'll see, it kind of sounds weird. I have the voice isolation cranked up here. It's not really working, so we're going to do something a little bit more complicated.
Que me cuentan
And as you can hear, it's just kind of weird. It doesn't quite sound right. And I want to clean it up and make it sound just like more present and close. So what we're going to do is we're just going to export this section of his voice. So we'll put an in point there. I hit I to put an in point there. And then at the end of his voice, we'll put an out point there with O. And we'll delete the little crossfade that was right here. And the main thing that I want to do, make sure this is soloed so that we're only getting his audio to export. I'm going to come up to the export settings here and go to audio only. You can see that export video is unchecked. We'll make it a WAV file 24. We'll call this Jesus Audio Fix 1. We'll save it somewhere. And we're going to use Adobe Podcast Enhance. So if you have an Adobe subscription, or maybe you know someone who does, something like that, we can use this. What we're going to do is take our file. We're just going to drag our file in here. It's going to upload, and then Adobe Podcast Enhance is going to do some insane wizardry that I don't really understand at all. I don't think anybody does. It'll take a minute to work, but the reason we're doing it with just this one section is that we want to give it just what we need. So no extra voices, just one voice at a time, just for this section. This does take a little longer than some of the other techniques, but it is kind of wild that you don't have to be like an audio wizard and you can get a crazy result like this. The only thing that I will say is that we do have to fix it, because I'll show you kind of what's wrong with it right now. So here it is, enhanced speech. It defaults to 90% strength. I don't know why. Let's listen to it without.
Yo tengo muchos amigos de El Salvador.
That's without. Let's put it on.
Yo tengo muchos amigos de El Salvador. Que me cuentan que allá.
So it comes out like insanely clean. What they're trying to do here is they're trying to replicate like a podcast mic really close. It's literally called Adobe Podcast. So we can back this off until it sounds kind of normal again.
De El Salvador, que me cuentan que allá lo difícil que es vivir allá en El Salvador y estar aparte de sus hijos,
I like somewhere around 71% strength for this one because it leaves a little bit of the
y
background
como la
noise.
necesidad de estar acá.
Now you will notice there's one problem with this, so let's download it. We'll put it back into the edit. So now all we're going to do is drag our new file in here. This is the Podcast Enhanced file. You can tell because it says enhanced 71%. So let's listen to the before and after. So before it sounded like
Tengo
this.
muchos amigos de El Salvador, que
And after it sounds like this.
yo tengo muchos amigos de El Salvador,
You can see that the problem is it sounds like a different mic. It sounds like it's some sort of podcast mic or something, and it sounds good if you like that kind of really warm low end sound, but it doesn't match the other mics in this movie. So what we're going to do is go over here to equalizer. We'll turn this on, and then we're going to hit band 1. This is a low pass or high pass filter rather. So if you drag this up, it cuts out everything underneath this. So if I drag it way up, it's going to sound kind of like like it's playing on like an old phone or something like that. So we don't want all of that. We're just going to drag it up
amigos de El Salvador, que me cuentan que allá
until we start to get rid of some of those bassy frequencies that sound like he's right up on that microphone. And then we'll probably cut off some of the high just a little bit because I want to drag up some of those higher frequencies too. So let's try
de El
that.
Salvador, que me cuentan que allá lo difícil que
So now we have some of that sibilance sound up there, maybe a little less. And then the other quick trick we can do is we can grab this piece and we can drag it up. Let's pull this number up so it gets real sharp up here. And then I can sweep back and forth to find any weird frequencies. So I'm just going to search for sounds that sound bad.
de El Salvador, que me cuentan que allá lo difícil que es
You can hear that like honk sound. So then all I'm going to do is take that specific honking frequency
allá en El Salvador,
and we're just going to drag it and take it out by a good bit. So
que me cuentan que allá
let's do before the equalizer
que me cuentan
and after.
que allá lo difícil que es vivir allá en El
It's
Salvador.
a nice kind of presency
Y
voice.
estar aparte,
So before was this,
aparte de sus hijos,
just kind of sounds bad, and after.
aparte de sus hijos.
So that is version 2, Adobe Podcast Enhance. It's kind of crazy. All right, so here's number 3. This is the third technique to use. So you'll see here on this guy here, you might not like this technique. I totally understand. But this is called thinking ahead. So on this gentleman here, you can hear that something's kind of screwed up with his lav mic. It's like muffled, like his shirt must have slipped. Not most of his interview doesn't sound like this, but this section sounds bad. And we really wanted to use this line from him in the documentary. Luckily, we had taken this little microphone, which is just like a super cheap Hollyland mic, and as a backup, because it was windy, we put it under his shirt. So kind of like I have it here. It's like hidden under his shirt, just as a backup, because the regular mic, this mic, is way more expensive and sounds way better in general. But in this case, instead of trying to fix this with some crazy AI thing, I'm literally just going to switch the angle to that other microphone. You can see it's louder already because I had boosted the other one because something went so terribly wrong with it. And suddenly it sounds amazing. So that's another technique, just to have a backup, even a cheap one. Like you can get these things for like $150, or a version of this is like, I think there's like $80 versions on Amazon. And there's a little bit of wind noise in there, so we can kind of duck that out as it comes in. And with the audio under it, it already sounds good. Now I will say, if I jump ahead here, there's another point where we did that with this lady here. And you can see that she has the microphone. Let me turn off the captions. You can see that she has the mic right there on her shirt. So it is kind of in your face in the shot. So we're just going to fix that real quick inside of Davinci Resolve, never leaving. We'll just do a small section here. We'll pretend this is the shot. So all we're going to do to fix it is we're just going to make a new node. We'll go right click, add node, and we're going to search patch replacer and drop it on here. And what this does is it says, wherever the arrow is pointing, it says this section replace with whatever is over here. So I'm going to put this at a clean area of her shirt. We'll make this as small as possible where it still works. We'll put this right over that. And then it'll be over that. And it's basically clone stamping it out. So if I turn it off, it's there. On, it's there. Now the only downside is that as she moves, it's going to peek through. So we have to do a little bit of keyframing, but it won't take long. So all we're going to do is open patch positions. We'll keyframe both the source and the target position. There's probably a way to track this like automatically, but I'm not sure exactly how to do that. So we're just going to do it manually. So we will scrub forward all the way to the end of our clip. And we're just going to move this back up over the microphone, and we'll move this to a clean spot. We'll go somewhere in the middle, reposition it all, and let's see if that works. Oh, there's a point where it peeks through here. So we will replace that and move that. That wasn't good. Up a little bit more. So that patch is not pretty. It doesn't look great. But if you're not looking for that, oh, there, that sucks. Let's fix that. If you're not looking for it, that is a pretty sneaky, flawless, I'm not going to say flawless, pretty sneaky, passable way to do this. And in this case, we also have these captions floating above. So I mean, literally no one's going to. So that was 3 ways to fix audio. I know you didn't learn a ton about technically how to be an amazing audio wizard, but in 2025, with tools like these, the weird part is you kind of don't need to know a ton about being an amazing audio wizard. If you use some of these tools and you think ahead, maybe do like a little bit of backup, just safety stuff, you can get audio that sounds like Netflix quality without being some sort of crazy, audio engineer. I will say in the end on this version, we did have a real audio engineer come in. He was awesome. Just mix everything, make it sound great. But his notes were like, hey, this already sounds like incredibly good. I don't need to do much. So it saved a bunch of time there. And for most of my projects, I don't have the luxury of having someone come in and fix everything in the end anyway. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully that was an interesting look at this. Thank you guys for watching.